Welcome to Divine Couples. Your host, Naomi Slater, will awaken your passion, deepen your intimacy, and invite healing into your relationships, working towards accessing higher levels of consciousness in all areas of your life. Come with us on this journey to explore and experience your fullest potential.
Social interaction for the mind and soul. Thanks for joining us. I'm your host, Naomi Slater, and you have tuned in to Divine Couples, adding intimacy, passion, and healing to your lives. LISS helps women claim sacred sensuality so they can live in self-love and inner wholeness. As a women's embodiment coach, author, public speaker, and retreat facilitator, she has worked internationally to inspire transformative healing. MARLEE's work is deeply shaped by her background in social work, trauma-informed yoga, somatic sex education, and body image facilitation. In 2019, MARLEE founded an organization called Rehumanize, focused on uplifting cultural standards of empathy. MARLEE has shared her story of restorative justice for sexual violence worldwide, and her work has been featured in Forbes, HuffPost, BuzzFeed, Mel Robbins Show, and more. Hey, MARLEE, thanks so much for joining us.
Yeah, thank you for having me on.
Our pleasure. So, MARLEE, you are a sexual embodiment coach. Can you tell us what that means?
Yes. So I have very much devoted my life and my work to helping women reclaim sacred sensuality. So for anyone who's been through trauma, or really anyone, and this could apply to every single human being who has internalized shame around sexuality, I help them come back into their bodies out of dissociation and into their fullest pleasure and self-love.
Oh, that's so beautiful. I think probably the majority of humans just from living in this world experience varying levels of shame when it comes to their sexuality.
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah. And you have a very unique and powerful story. Can you tell us about what brought you to do what you do?
Yeah. So sexual wounding and trauma and shame has definitely been like a guiding force in my life for a long time. And I really deeply came to this work after I experienced rape, sexual trauma in 2016. And this was like a huge point in my life where I just broke completely. And I sort of began this journey of, it sounds very extreme, but like heal or die. Like it was kind of like I needed to give myself 1,000% to my own healing journey, or I would just check out. I didn't want to be on this earth, So I started going like full force into my healing, very much focused on mindfulness. This is when I found Tantra. This is when I found this path of somatic sex education and all of these things. So this really changed my life. I was also already studying social work and yoga, so I was very much aware of the body and the way that societal conditioning impacts our bodies. So after experiencing that and then going on this healing journey, I began to be not just okay again, but I began to actually heal and thrive and love myself more than I ever had, even before this trauma. So this is like a huge part of why I do what I do, and I just want all women to have access to these tools.
That is so amazing that you were able to transform something so painful and so destructive into something that created healing for you. It's just amazing.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, of course. So you were going through the criminal justice system to apprehend your assailant, and you changed your mind just before the court date. What changed for you and why?
Yeah, so I was going through the court system for this rape for 3 years total. For anyone who's been through that process, it sucks. I would pretty much say that the punitive process is abusive towards survivors. Like, all that we're put through, being put on the stand, being questioned, and like really doubted, it's so painful. And so when I got subpoenaed for a criminal trial, for myself, I was like, I don't want to do this. But also, I had been learning so much about healing and the way that I see the world and the reality of hurt people, and just had been like feeling so deeply into the need for us to change the way that we pursue justice. So just all of my beliefs were no longer compatible with this system. And so I was like, I'm either going to drop the charges, or actually I was very close to dropping the charges, but I had like in my heart, and I didn't know about restorative justice yet, but I had in my heart this vision of like, in my world, I would just sit down with this person and grieve and cry and express like the pain that I felt and get answers as to why this happened, like what happened between the time a baby was born and a perpetrator was made. So this is really like where I was coming from.
Did you understand after sitting down with this man why he did what he did?
Yeah, so for anyone who's just hearing this story for the first time, I did end up fighting for that vision that I had, and for the first time in North American history, they gave approval to this. And so my assailant, instead of us going to trial, he started therapy right away for 6 months, and then we met in this 8-hour circle. And I definitely, it's funny to call it successful because it's such a formal word for something so deep and raw, but it was really transformative. And like, I like to say, beyond my expectations, but aligned with my dreams.
Wow. And what did you realize from him, going through this process of grieving with him for 8 hours? I mean, what was revealed to you that you didn't know before?
That's a powerful question. So this was actually a stranger to me. I didn't know him at all. The only times I had met him were during this assault, and then in the courtroom at our preliminary trial, in which case we didn't speak at all. So I don't know this person. But I guess what I learned through him, or what was revealed to me, was like that my beliefs, my optimistic worldview, like I have faith in humanity, and what was
thank God.
What was revealed to me is that that's not delusional, that's actually needed, that's acceptable, that it catalyzes healing, and that like by me following my heart in a really courageous and unconventional way, he experienced healing, and I experienced healing, and everyone in that room, like he also had a friend who he brought with him for accountability's sake, and Kaya's restorative justice is more community-oriented. That friend's life was changed, and he experienced healing. So I think through him and through this process, I learned to trust myself and to just like forget all the conditioning crap and the systemic whatever we've learned, and just like actually listen to my spirit and my intuition.
Wow, that is incredible. And just for people that don't know what restorative justice is, like you said, you didn't know what it was. It's a theory of justice that emphasizes repairing the harm caused by criminal behavior and not just persecuting. So, do you think that this is a better way to deal with rape, and why?
It's a complex topic because we're talking about two of the most controversial things, like criminals and sexual trauma, but I think that it's not, okay, I want to preface this by saying I don't think it's for everyone, because in all reality, there are assailants who will not ever take accountability, or there are assailants who don't even understand that they did something wrong or they can't access remorse. But I think that population is way smaller than we've been taught, way, way, way smaller. And so I do think that if it's possible, if this person is willing, and if they can be supported in taking accountability and resourced, then I do think it's better. Like, the punitive system is so painful. The most likely outcome is acquittal, which means no justice is experienced, or incarceration, which is seen as like a win in the punitive system, but a win after the survivor has been re-traumatized and the assailant goes to prison, sits in their shame, builds anger, immerses themselves in a culture of violence, and then comes out more angry. And this is why, like, recidivism, like reoffending after prison, those rates are very, very, very high. Whereas if you look at the stats related to restorative justice, people transform. People become, they don't just not reoffend, but often they become leaders in the community helping to stop violence. Like, it becomes a catalyst for them to be changed in the same way that I and so many survivors are.
Wow, Marley, you are so incredibly wise and brave for following your heart on this. I can't imagine how difficult that must have been, and also to have gone through the criminal justice system and for 3 full years, and then last minute to pull out. I mean, I can't imagine what that process was like for you. But that's incredible that you were able to listen to your heart and to come out so much stronger on the other side. And I think that is such an inspiration to other women to just, hear your story and just know that there's another way. It, like you said, it might not be the right thing for everyone and for every case, but the fact that you set this precedent, I think, has the potential for creating a lot more healing in this world. So, amazing. Do you know what progress your assailant is making in his personal healing? Are you in touch with him at all? Kind of, how does this work?
Thank you. And I want to clarify too, that I actually did this through the justice system. So it was like we were going through the punitive process, and then I went to the prosecutor and said, I want to do it this way. Which is the part that really excites my, like, fire sign self, because I'm like, we are bringing, like, our divine feminine Shakti magic into these spaces and being like, this space needs to shift to meet me, versus like I need to leave and create my own space, which is great too. But I'm just like, yes to shifting the systems through our intuition. And in terms of the progress that my assailant's making, I wish that I knew. The interesting thing about this is like the first time in North America that this has happened through the legal system. And so if there's something my lawyer said was, we're kind of making this path as we walk it. And everything was so profound and healing. And if there's anything I could change, it would be that there is some kind of follow-up process, because there's such a strict NDA. And in all reality, I would name this person to humanize them if I could, but I can't because of this NDA. And I would love to know, because in the moment of the circle, when there was so much energy and so much healing, and I don't want people to think it was like some kumbaya process, because it was not. Like, it was hard. Like, we fucking, hopefully I can swear, we like purged and we like purged and got it all out, and it was hard and painful, and then it became healing and beautiful and like, wow, so deeply uplifting. But
he also purged, like, was he remorseful? Was he, I mean, I'm just so curious as to how that looked.